Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Sriman A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikha Hosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Tham ki jai. Navadvip Tham ki jai. Mathura Tham ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 9. Dhruva Maharaj returns home. Text 65. Uttanapadaha Raja Rishihi Prabhavam Tanayasya Tam Shrutva Drishtva Adbhuta Tamam Prapede Vismayam Param Uttanapado Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drishtva Adbhutamam Prapede Vismayam Param Uttanapado Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drishtva Adbhutatamam Prapede Vismayam Param Uttanapado Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drishtva Bhutatamam Prapede Vismayam Param. Yasmadhishvad bhutatamam Prapede Vishmayam Param. Keep chanting. More chanting. No, men chant. Men, more chant. Anapada Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasya Tam Shrutva Drisva Bhutatamam Prapede Vishmayam Param. Someone else? Ben? Uttanapada Rajarshi Prabhavam Vintayotatam Shrutva Drisva Bhutatamam Prapede Yasmayam Param. Uttanapada Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasya Tam Shrutva Drisva Bhutatamam Prapede Vishmayam. Ladies. Shrutva Drisva Bhutatamam Prapede Vishmayam Param. No more? Uttanapada, King Uttanapada, Rajarishi, great saintly king, Prabhavam, influence, Tanayasya, of his son, Tam, that, Shrutva, hearing, Drishtva, seeing, Adbhuta, wonderful, Tamam, in the superlative degree, Prapede, happily felt, Vismayam, wonder, Param, supreme. Translation: the saintly king Uttanapada, hearing of the glorious deeds of Dhruva Maharaj and personally seeing also how influential and great he was, felt very satisfied, for Dhruva's activities were wonderful to the supreme degree. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When Dhruva Maharaj was in the forest executing his austerities, his father, Uttanapada, heard everything about his wonderful activities. Although Dhruva Maharaj was the son of a king and was only 5 years old, he went to the forest and executed devotional service under strict austerity. Therefore his acts were all wonderful. And when he came back home, naturally, because of his spiritual qualifications, he became very popular amongst the citizens. He must have performed many wonderful activities by the grace of the Lord. No one is more satisfied than the father of a person who is credited with glorious activities. Maharaj Uttanapada was not an ordinary king, he was a Rajarshi, a saintly king. Formerly this earth was ruled by one saintly king only. Kings were trained to become saintly, therefore they had no other concern than the welfare of the citizens. These saintly kings were properly trained. And as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, the science of God, or the yoga system of devotional service known as Bhagavad Gita, was spoken to the saintly king of the sun planet, and gradually it descended through the Kshatriya kings who were generated from the sun and the moon. If the head of the government is saintly, certainly the citizens become saintly. And they are very happy because both their spiritual and physical needs and hankerings are satisfied. Uttanapado Rajarshi Prabhavam Tanayasyatam Shrutva Drištva Bhutatamam Prapede Vismayam Param. So the important word in this verse, Rajarshi, that Uttanapad was a Rajarshi, saintly king. A means that he's not only a Raja, king, but he's a Rishi also. He's as good as the Rishis, the sages. It means he knew the absolute truth perfectly well. It's like Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Yudhisthira, Lord Ramachandra. They're Rajarshis. And that is the best system of government. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita of men, I am the monarch. Monarch means Rajarshi. He's the king of the whole planet. There should be such qualified persons that you can entrust the whole planet to one person. Everyone's afraid, oh no, if we put the whole planet under the care of one person, and if he goes astray, he goes off, then everything is lost. Yes, that's true. But now you have the same problem where everyone's off. So you put the control under everyone, and they're all off. So the whole planet is off. All misled. All demoniac. Prabhupada sometimes, he gave a statistic that everyone is demoniac. Not everyone, 99.999%. So, not everyone, but practically everyone is engaged in sinful activities, sinful thoughts, everything misdirected. Manda samanda matayo manda bhagya hupadutaha ayur harati vaipungs. Everyone is misdirected. Unfortunate. Oh, what is the hope? If the kings or the leaders are misled, then they will mislead everyone else. Andha yatandar upaniyamana. Andha means blind. So the leaders are blind. They don't know how to see what is the purpose of life. They don't know which way to lead. What kind of leadership is that? If we join together and we choose a blind person to lead us on a very, very momentous trip, a very great journey, long journey, and we choose a blind person, what does that say for our intelligence? This is the democratic system. All the foolish people join together to choose a blind person, or even worse, to choose an animal. Svavidviraho strakarai sangstutak parushak pashu nayat karna patopeto jatu nama gadaguja Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those persons who never hear the glories of the Lord. Now everyone's afraid to glorify God. It's considered bad judgment. It's considered we have to be. No, you cannot bring religion into the picture at all. No, God has to be removed. Completely. Separation of church and state. But not only separation, annihilation of the church. Now they don't even say God and state, church and state. They've already gotten God out of the word. Now only church is left, and we've removed God from the church. There's no God in the church. If you go to a church, where do you see God? And most temples, God is out, impersonal, or God is void. There's no such thing as God. So no God in the temple, no God in the church, and then everything is simply accidental. There's no controller. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the demoniac. That's their conclusion. Anishvaram. There's no controller. The demoniac think this world is going on simply by male and female coming together. That's life. Life is created by chemicals. A male chemical, female chemical, put them together, you have life. That's all there is to it. No supreme, nothing spiritual, nothing transcendental, only matter. This is science. This is the principle of the modern world. The scientific theory, Darwin's theory, Big Bang theory. Life comes from matter theory, evolution. All these theories are based on the atheistic conception that there's nothing beyond matter. Everything can be explained in accord with matter. So it's a very dangerous, extremely dangerous situation. Everything is bad in modern civilization. Everything is bad. Because why? Because the leader's bad. They say, well, we have democratic, we can elect someone, but how will you elect a good person if you have no training? You can't elect someone by chance and he'll come out good. How can he come out good? His whole training, his upbringing is all bad. Why will he be good? He must be bad. Bad training, no preparation for bringing good souls, no garbhadan samskara, no samskaras. Who's the educating society? Rogues and fools. They themselves are demoniac. How can they give proper education? They themselves are not educated. It's like if you go to someone who has no education, you say, now we want you to educate the next generation. What is that? Then you think, well, hopeless by chaotic, by accident. That's your philosophy, that the whole universe came out by accident from the void. So from the void of your educational system, some great saintly person will come out? No. It won't happen. It's not happening. They will mislead everyone just as they're misled. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is the only hope. I was, some years ago when I embarked on the cosmology project that I was working with for the Vedic Planetarium in Mayapur, I spoke with one very, very well-known professor in the United States. And he's well known in the field of synthesizing science and, because he's from India, spirituality and science. Professor Kak. So I told him about our plan that we wanted to produce a Vedic planetarium based on strict Vedic culture, cosmology. And what did he think? And he said, well, I don't know so much about it, and I may or may not agree with everything that you say, because he's an impersonalist. So naturally he would not agree with everything. But he said, I will say this, even though I may not agree with everything, I'll say that if it weren't for ISKCON, Vedic culture would be lost. The only hope is ISKCON. That's what he said. It's the only hope. So this is a very great responsibility that ISKCON has, inherited from Srila Prabhupada, inherited from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, from Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the whole disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. Sakale neha mahata yoga nashta parantapa. Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivishwan. Vivishwan instructed it to Manu. Manu instructed to Ikshvaku. In this way it's come down through the solar and the lunar dynasties, the Kshatriyas. And it's also come down through the Brahmanas, through Brahma, Narada, Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya, all Brahmanas. So the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas both have their line, and the teaching is the same. So we need Kshatriyas who are properly trained and Brahmanas who are properly trained. That is the business of the Vedic college. Rupanuga Vidyapit, Prabhupada established. He wanted to establish that for training Brahmanas and Kshatriyas primarily. And then after, if you have Brahmanas, then they can train the Kshatriyas. If you have no Brahmanas, who will train the Kshatriyas? And who will protect the Brahmanas if there's no Kshatriyas? Somebody has to protect them. Otherwise, the society will say, no, we don't want to hear from you, Brahmanas. Well, silence them. Put them in prison, psychiatric hospitals. Just like recently our godbrother Ananta Shanti, as you know, the Prabhupada's single Russian disciple, he left this world earlier this year. So he was given the task of preaching Krishna consciousness throughout the whole Soviet Union. And he did it gloriously, but because it was an atheistic government, they put him in psychiatric hospital, in prison, tortured him. So who's protecting? There's no Kshatriyas to protect. It is a great, great, terrible situation. Don't think that everything's going nicely in this world. It's not going nicely. It's becoming more and more degraded every moment. It's an ocean of faults. Kaler doshani de rajan, yasti heko mahan gunan, kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha parambraja. This age of Kali is an ocean of faults. Everywhere you look, it's faulty. There's only one chance, one good thing, and that is the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. The Mahamantra, 16 words, not more. Don't add words before the mantra. 16 words. Shodashakam nam nam, kali kali masha nashanam. These 16 words are the best way to destroy the bad effects of Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted the Mahamantra. And He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. This is the process. The only way. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way to get self-realization in this age. So if you think, well, I don't want to chant meditation or yoga or sacrifice or whatever, any other process will not be effective in Kali Yuga. Kalo tad hari kirtanam. There may be other processes that are effective in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, but not in Kali Yuga, only chanting the holy name of the Lord. And that's the easiest process. And along with the chanting, we have philosophy, we have culture, we have art, we have music, we have economy, economics, we have sociology, varnashram system, we have political arrangements, everything. Everything's included. Beautiful music, beautiful cuisine, good psychology, the brain, the mind. Otherwise, everyone's losing their brains. Illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication. Where's the brain? All those things destroy the brain. Even scientifically, it's proven that if you drink alcohol or take drugs, your brain goes bad. You go mad. If you have illicit sex, you go mad. If you illicit sex, meat eating, dulls the brain, becomes like an animal. Therefore, there shouldn't be no doubts. What Krishna says should not be doubted. If you doubt Krishna, you're insincere. You're influenced by demoniac mentality. That's what it means to have doubts about what Krishna says. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. We have to read Bhagavad Gita, accept it as it is, without any additions or subtractions. If Krishna says that Namam Duskritina Mudha Prapadyante Naradama Mayaya Parita Jnana Asuram Bhavam Ashita, that the Duskritinas, the mischievous, anyone who doesn't surrender to Krishna is a rascal. There's no well, he's not that bad, he's nice. He's atheistic, he doesn't surrender to Krishna, but he's still nice person, good person. No, nothing good. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvar gunais tatra samasate sura. Harava bhaktasya mahad guno manorate nasato dhavato bahi. If he's devotee of Krishna, he'll have all good qualities, and if he's not a devotee of Krishna, he'll have no good qualities. Very simple. That's Krishna's statement. If you don't accept that, it means your faith is weak and you're influenced by materialistic, sinful, demoniac civilization. That's Krishna's instructions. Oh, we have to cultivate faith in Krishna. How to cultivate faith in Krishna? Cheto darpanamarjanam, bhava maha davagni nirvapanam, shreya kairava chandika vitaranam, vidyavaru jivanam, anandam bodhivardhanam, pratipadam, purnamritasvaranam, sarvatmasna param, param vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. We have to cleanse the heart from all these demoniac influences. The lust, the greed, the anger, the fear, the illusion, darkness, envy, everything. That's what our heart is filled with. How can we possibly expect anything good result when our hearts and minds, activities are full of these things? But Sankirtan movement is the purifying process, purifies everything. All the thoughts, all the activities. The future will be bright, the present will be bright, even the past will be bright. You may say, well, how can we change the past? Yes. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Krishna says, whatever sins you've performed, that's okay. Surrender to me right now, you'll be free. It gets cleaned out. He makes the account, wiped out whatever debts you have, sinful reactions wiped clean. That's the beauty. Past, present, future, everything becomes bright by surrendering to Krishna. That is the only solution. There is no other way other than surrender completely to Krishna. There's no one else to surrender to except to Krishna or one who's surrendered to Krishna. That's the same thing. If you surrender to someone who's surrendered to Krishna, then it means you're surrendering to Krishna. Does anyone have any doubts about this point? That maybe there's some other way other than surrender to Krishna completely? Not 80%, 100%. Any questions on any of these points? Yes? You have a microphone? Dhruva Maharaj, even though he was only 5 years old, he achieved perfection. That means even it's not dependent upon age. Doesn't matter even if one is 5 years old, he can become perfect. How did he become perfect? He got the association of the saintly persons, Narad Muni.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Sadhusanga, sadhusanga, sarva shastrikoi, lavamatra sadhusanga, sarva siddhi. One moment's association with the saintly person is sufficient. Therefore, you should bring your children. Anyone have children here? You should bring your children to the temple every day. Don't think, well, I'll just send them to school and once in a while they'll come. No, they need to come. Because they'll be associating with the sadhus. Then they'll become like Dhruva Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, thank you very much. You delivered a very good lecture and very good points. Like you told that ISKCON is the only hope. It's a very valid point that ISKCON is the only hope. Otherwise, by chance, no saintly person can come. So that is why I was reading this purport. So Prabhupada is saying that Uttanpad, King Uttanpad, the father of Dhruva Maharaj, he was very happy when he heard that Dhruva Maharaj was performing so many austerities and on wonderful activities. But if we apply this in our scenario, like when some young persons become a devotee and they perform austerities, their parents don't become happy. They don't understand that they are performing wonderful activities. They are not happy. Rather, they are depressed.
So, yeah, that's the influence of Kali Yuga. We want our children to be technologists. And we want them to become enjoyers of the material world. And then we want to be enjoyers. That's the problem. That's the influence of the Ravanas. If you associate with Ravana, you become like Ravana. What is it? If you go to Lanka, you become a Ravana. So if you associate, if you watch television of the Ravanas, you become also a Ravana. You learn to dance like the Ravanas, sing like the Ravanas, eat like the Ravanas. Therefore, we cannot take their association. We have to give up asatsanga tyaga, a Vaishnavachar. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, what is the behavior of a Vaishnava? Lord Chaitanya said, asatsanga tyaga, a Vaishnavachar. The behavior of a Vaishnava is he gives up the association of non-devotees, asatsanga tyaga. That's the one thing. Has to give up bad association of the asat. That means in all aspects, hearing from them, watching them, eating with them, imitating them. We don't want to be associated with them. That's why we have our sadhu sangha, associating with sadhus. There's 9 processes of devotional service, or different groups, different categories of faith and love of Krishna. Adho Shraddha, in the beginning faith, Tata Sadhu Sangha. The next stage is he gives up association of the Asat Sangha and he takes up Sadhu Sangha. That becomes his friendship, that becomes his family. If my family is of the Ravana category or Hiranyakashipu category, I have to give up that association. And I have to take up the association of the real family. My real family is Krishna, Srimati Radharani. This is my real father, real mother. Everything else, this is all based on illusion, based on the material conception. Okay, so that's the program. Any other questions? I don't dare stop early because I know there's one devotee here who will make sure that tell me that I have to continue speaking for a few more minutes. So, unless the President gives permission.
So, Maharaj, so like in this case, we are supposed to respect our parents also. So if you are not associating with them, suppose that because they are not devotees, so how is balance? We are not, they say you don't respect us.
Yes, we can. Just like if your father is diseased. Wow. So you want to help him. So try to help him get over his disease. That's the way you show your love for him. So our love for our families and for society and for everyone is shown by giving them Krishna. What better gift can you give them? They may think that the best gift you can give them is money, but we know better. We know that giving them money is not the best gift. We give them Krishna. Now, they may not appreciate it. That's due to their intoxication. They're intoxicated with the worldly things. But that doesn't mean we have to be intoxicated. If you know someone who's intoxicated, doesn't mean you have to be intoxicated. You can say, no, here, you don't be intoxicated. You can't drive. Well, that is the process. Our duty is to educate everyone who's in ignorance. And everyone is in ignorance. Everyone is an illusion. Krishna Surya Sama Mayahaya Andhakara. Therefore Krishna has to be brought in. Krishna is like the sun. When the sun is there, there's no more ignorance, no more illusion. That's the only solution. We see all their attempts, they're all failures. Parabhava stavara bodha jato. Parabhava. All their activities, pa, ma. Pa stands for Parabhava. Parabhava first. Parishram. Parishram, yes. Hard labor. Parishram means failure. And then pena, the foaming at the mouth, hard labor. Ba stands for bandha. I know sometimes he says, Prabhupada uses another one, but he also uses bandha sometimes. Vyartha he uses sometimes. Bandha means bondage. And then bhiti means bhaya, fear. And ma for mrityu, death. That is the materialistic program. As long as you buy in to the materialistic paradigm, that's what you get. Failure, hard struggle, foaming at the mouth, bondage, bad reactions, fear, and ultimately, to cap off everything, death. You like this program? This is, if you want material life, if you don't want to surrender to Krishna, this is what you have to take. And if you surrender to Krishna, then it's apavarga. Then all those things are null and void. Krishna removes them, and you get eternity, knowledge, and bliss. That's the Satchit Ananda. That is the alternative to materialistic life. Eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Any other? Yes, here? Here's a question. Over here in the front.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, speak loudly.
Is there any relation between spiritual knowledge and bhakti of Lord Krishna?
Someone can say, I didn't catch what he said. Is there any relationship between spiritual knowledge and bhakti of Krishna? Yes, bhakti of Krishna includes spiritual knowledge. And without bhakti, then there is no spiritual knowledge. How can there be spiritual knowledge without bhakti? There may be a little bit of spiritual knowledge if there's a little bit of bhakti. Just like the jnanis, so-called jnanis, we say so-called because they're impersonal. They believe in the effulgence or the energy of the Supreme, but not the personality of the Supreme. Therefore, their knowledge is incomplete. Or the fruit of workers. If they're pious, they believe in varnashram, but varnashram is just the beginning of Krishna consciousness. What about the next stages? Full surrender to Krishna. That they haven't come to that point. So, varnashram is the beginning of spiritual life, or the impersonalism, accepting the Brahman, Brahmayati, Paramatmayati, Bhagavaniti Shabdate. That is also spiritual knowledge, but partial. But if you take up Bhagavan realization, then it includes all the spiritual, all the material, everything, all knowledge, perfect and complete. If you study trying to get knowledge without Krishna, what does Krishna say? Vedaischa sarvara ham eva vedyo, Vedantakrit veda vedeva chaham. By all the Vedas I am to be known. If you study the Vedas, you're supposed to come to the conclusion that Vasudeva sarvamiti, Krishna is everything. He's the Supreme. And if you don't come to that conclusion, Shrama eva hi kevalam, it's a waste of time. All your education, so-called knowledge, waste of time. Okay, one last question.
As you said that there is danger for the brahmanas or devotees now these days is going on, for sadhus. So, is it necessary to separately train the devotees in the field of Kshatriya or Shudra in other...
is it necessary to separate the devotees?
Yeah, ISKCON is doing in that field.
Devotees are on the Vaishnav platform. If he's fully engaged, Mam Chayo Vyabhicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatitjaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He's transcendental to these divisions. But Prabhupada wanted the devotees to establish Varnashram for those who are not yet devotees. And for that, they may set the example by acting as if they were Brahmanas or as if they were Kshatriyas or Vaishyas or Shudras. But actually they're not, because they're transcendental. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.